I'm Janeira St. Clair, and I live in Tacoma, Washington, near Seattle, and I am an IT director. I've been in IT for 26 years.
Welcome, Janeira. I'm
Thank
super
you.
excited to have you here.
Thank you. I am beyond excited to be here.
I know you're one of our most raving fans,
Yes, I am.
and you were just all giddy when we first met,
Yep.
and the rest of the team. So it's really excited to have you here and actually have a conversation with you because you have a great story, and I want to share some of the highlights of your story because I know we have so many IT people following us, and you're an IT director. You have to deal with so many different things, and I know being an IT director is so different from the average person because there's so much stuff going on. You can't set your own schedule, and there's always a lot of moving parts, and we're going to get into that. But one thing I'm really curious about is how did you originally find us? Because you've been following us for a while, but I'm always curious. How did people find us? Because we're all over the place. We do a lot of different things. So I'm really curious how you found our materials.
Well, it all started with David Allen. You can thank him. I read his book. I stumbled across his book, Getting Things Done, and I was blown away by it being an actionable plan that looked feasible for me to really help me get control of my time and the many, many tasks that I have to do each day and that clutter my to-do list and my inbox. But I had trouble consistently acting on it. So I thought, what better way to motivate myself and get tips on implementing it than maybe find a podcast dedicated to getting things done. So when I did a search in my podcast app for getting things done, Asian efficiency came up, and the name was very intriguing. And so I listened to one podcast and then another, and I loved it. I have been a fan ever since.
What a lot of people don't know, and that's something I shared with you earlier, is that we started off as a passion project. This was back in 2011 when we were just so passionate about productivity. We wanted to share some of the things that we knew, some of the things that would benefit others. And over the years, it just exploded and we grew this huge community. So I'm really excited and happy to have you part of the community because you've been following us for a long time and you've implemented some of the things that we've learned. Like you mentioned, your Asian efficiency. What is this?
Right.
What was your first thought when you first saw this?
Well, I thought either you had to be Asian to be a customer, that you were actually in Asia, and I was just lucky to get the podcast, or it might be some kind of humorous joke, the naming. But definitely, I didn't feel like the company was a joke because of the content in the podcast. It was clear to me you guys were onto something really good for me. But I was very intrigued, and after about 3 episodes, I thought, I've got to check these guys out. What else do they have?
So I remember you mentioned earlier that the first product that you bought from us was an ebook, right? We showed you some of the basics of time management, but what motivated you to take that first step?
To get the ebook? Or looking at your site with the blog posts and then the podcasts, I so appreciate that your content is rich. It's not just, here's 10 tips to have a better meeting or 10 tips to get through your day. Because I have been reading that kind of stuff for years, and it's all the same over and over and over. Now, I wanted something deeper, richer, more information. How can I really implement these things in my own workflow? And everything I saw or heard from you guys had that richness, so I was more than happy to start purchasing products because I knew I'd just get more of that.
One of the things I always tell people on my team, some of you met yesterday at dinner and at the mastermind. As I know you were very happy.
I
finally.
was total fangirl.
Totally happy meeting Mike.
Yes.
The guy you always listen to on the podcast.
Yes.
And then me and Brooks and others.
Yep.
So it was great to see that fangirl moment. And one of the things you told me was you were very skeptical about everything that we did. And you were like, oh, I'm not sure if this is going to work for me. And you mentioned, but the content is so great. And then you started diving into some of the other programs that we had. And one of the other ones you had was the morning routine program that we have, which is our morning ritual starter kit. And one of the things that we always tell people is if you can implement a morning ritual, a lot of other things you will start to implement, whether that's a habit, a ritual, technology, apps and tools, will become a lot easier because if you start the day right, everything else is going to be really easy. And I'm curious to hear, what did a morning ritual do for you?
Well, the thing I appreciate most about having the morning ritual, well, two things. One is when I got up, I knew exactly what I was going to be doing in what order, and that meant I could sleep in a little bit longer. So I appreciated that. I didn't have to get up and decide. It had already been decided. I have a routine. I have a ritual. This is what I'm going to do. And then having a good routine, good ritual, helped me focus my mind and transition from the night before and I just woke up, blah, 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 what's going on, to really being focused and on and ready to hit the ground running at work.
And you mentioned then after that, you started to dive into the rituals program that we have.
Yes.
And you said that was life-changing.
Yes.
Can you explain why?
Yes. One thing I always appreciated about the AE content from the beginning was kind of the holistic approach you guys take. Like I said, it's not just how to do a better meeting or how to be better with my to-do list. It's how to be a more efficient person to enjoy life more, have more time for accomplishing goals and enjoying life. And the rituals course was a case in point. It's not just, it covered the morning ritual, it covered an evening ritual, but also things like journaling and meditation. And bringing those into my life just made things richer. Like being able to journal and reflect each day helped not just me be a better worker bee, but also be a more thoughtful, self-reflective person. And actually, I tend to be quite self-reflective, but in my mind, I go round and round and round and round. And with the journal, it helps me kind of go forward instead of round and round and round. So I have really appreciated that insight, that's an important thing to bring into my life. And the same with the meditation. The meditation piece of that course showed me that I did not have to sit in the lotus position for an hour every day to get a benefit from meditation, that just a few minutes a day with a very simple process could give me the benefits, the mental calm and clarity that I was hoping for.
And how do you feel when you have these rituals in place?
I feel like I'm on my game. And it's like day and night when I'm not able to do them for whatever reason. And it's just kind of that feeling of discombobulation, which was a normal thing for me prior to the courses. And so, but it was just normal. So I never knew what I was missing, that I didn't have to feel discombobulated all day long, every day.
Before we started rolling, you mentioned that one of the things you really appreciated all about the programs that we have is that the average person can do this. And I thought that was a very interesting statement, because a lot of people look at us and think, oh man, I could never do that. They're that successful and this is only for elite performers. But in reality, everything that we teach is really for people in the everyday workforce, people who want to be more productive, want to get more things done in less time. Can you speak to that? Can you explain how our programs are different or cater to people who just aren't necessarily high performers, but also can implement anything that they set their heart to?
Sure, yes, definitely. Like I was saying about the meditation thing, I've read books on meditation. It is something I've wanted to bring into my life, but they typically say you've got to, devote at least a half an hour every day, and it goes from there. That's just the beginning. And to me, starting from nothing, that just is insurmountable. But you guys break it down into steps. So, for example, the morning ritual, you shared your morning rituals, or what has worked for you and other people you've worked with. And the audience could see that, oh, that's actually achievable. It doesn't mean I have to get up at 5 in the morning and spend a half an hour on the treadmill and then, read a book on self-development for an hour. Those things would not happen in my life. But I can make a list, and I can write out my why for each thing, and I can choose steps that are meaningful to me and that meet the goals as you guys have instructed us to do. So it's very achievable, and it looks very achievable. So I'm not afraid to try them.
Mm. And that's what we're here for. We're trying to help people achieve their goals faster. And everybody
Yes.
that we work with is ambitious, and people that you met yesterday at the mastermind, you saw everybody's
Yep.
ambitious. They want to
Yep.
get ahead. They want to have an advantage. They want to get things done faster. They want to achieve their goals faster. And you're one of them, and you're part of our community as well, which I really appreciate. You're always contributing and helping others as well. And one of the things I really appreciate about your role is that it's atypical, meaning most people, when they start their day, they can control most of their day. They can say, I'm going to block off some time, focus on one thing or two things, and then get it done. But as an IT director, and I know we have a ton of IT people watching this and following us, and they say, oh, Tan, you don't get it. In IT, this doesn't work. You can't block off 1 or 2 hours.
Right.
If somebody comes in or an email pops up, I have to respond right away. And I'm curious to hear, how do you manage that?
Well, the only thing that really works is to control what I can control. And so utilizing all the tools in my toolkit now, my Asian efficiency toolkit, I feel like I can have more control over the things I've planned, the things that I know about in advance, such as meetings, making them more efficient, making my projects more efficient, and that gives me the freedom in my day to react to the things that pop up. Oh, this server is down, or this user is very frustrated and needing extra help right now, or this executive needs this answer right away. It's just constant, and it doesn't matter what level of IT you're at. It's you never know what's going to hit you, so all you can really do is control what you can control.
Because you are at the mercy of other people.
Right, exactly, and machines.
And machines.
Yes, we don't know what there's a saying amongst my peers, in IT we hate surprises, because machines are surprising enough, so we don't like extra surprises like human surprises. We're conditioned.
So after implementing some of the things that you've learned from the programs and the things that you can control, what does your typical day now look like compared to what it was in the past?
Well, the days are kind of evolving since I just started a new position. However, I can say that I spend a lot less time in email. I do a daily review, and you coached me when things were extra crazy in my previous work to do it twice a day instead of once a day, to try to keep a handle on the many open loops that I had walked into. That feeling of being not always on top of things, but at least knowing I'm not going to miss something important now, that is so huge that I can have confidence that I'm not going to drop anything important, because I do the daily routines and the daily review at the end of my day. And also in project planning, making sure that it's always actionable steps are defined, and that everybody involved in the project knows what the next action is. Just little things like that make it so much smoother.
So it sounds like all these rituals that we've taught you and the coaching that we've gone through together seem to have really benefited you, which I'm very happy with and great to see. So I really appreciate that you're here today. And I want to thank you for being here. Is our coaching and our online courses, is that something that you would recommend to others?
Definitely. Like I've said, you don't have to be an elite executor, although I strive to be, and I will be someday, but you don't have to start there to benefit from your courses, which is not the case with other products. And I've been in the productivity space as a tourist for a very long time, and that is really the holistic approach you guys take, and the accessibility of it all really distinguish your products and your content.
Well, thank you, Janeira, for being on here today. I really appreciate your time, and I hope to see you again in the future.
Oh, you will. Thank you.